Okay, if we're not actually streaming this time, I'm just going to start flipping tables because all I've done today is argue with technology and lost every time. So if this doesn't work, I'm going to be so upset. Oh my God. It like flashed. I'm watching it on my browser and it flashed loading video. All right. Oh my gosh. I can actually see it. This is a brave new world of technology where you can actually send out video through these magical copper wires and fiber optic cables.
It is a little bit funny, though, in the grand scheme of things, that we're all indignant that we can't locally broadcast to anywhere in the world on a whim.
It is. No, it is. We do totally live in the future. Because, man, think about all the hoops we used to have to go through for anything. Like we were talking about, somebody mentioned that they were, I think it was Chris, mentioned that they had looked at, like, installing teleconferencing stuff when Demigod was in production, right? Because Demigod was made by gas-powered games, who are not in Plymouth, and Stardock is in Michigan here, and it was like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and now it's like, we got a cheap laptop and a webcam, throw it in the conference room, we're good.
You can still spend thousands and thousands of dollars.
You can.
Even Skype has like a Skype box, I forget what they call it, that they sell that is apparently really actually like awesome. That
really?
And makes your Skype work reliably according to them. But even it's still like $4,000.
Oh my goodness!
Box, yeah.
You know how much freaking equipment I could buy for $4,000?
Yeah.
I could build like 3 awesome gaming machines from the ground up for $4,000. Oh my goodness.
Anyways, before we lost our connection, I was saying that we don't have a lot of new features this week because this is mostly just 1.1 patch. Mm-hmm. This does include the patch that was opt-in until a couple days ago. But we're going, so this is a good opportunity to ask about future plans and or make special requests for those future plans, some of which are less set in stone than others. So we're still kind of scheduling things out for literally the next year. So if there's something you really want, I mean, I know Brad's been trolling the forums, kind of looking for wish lists. So this is your chance to
if you
do a verbal wish list.
Yeah, if you have a feature or you have that you'd like to see, or you have a bug that's been annoying you,
which I'm sure
everybody always has a pet bug, right? And except for developers have 700 pet bugs. So yeah, definitely plug those in the chat. We can talk about them and talk about where they might fall on the priority list and all that kind of stuff. Are there any expansions planned? Absolutely, there are several expansions.
We have. We'll probably do at least 3 major expansions, and then so 1.3 is going to be kind of a little mini expansion. It's a DLC, and it'll probably actually only cost the same as a DLC, but that's going to finally be my Rise of the Snathy DLC, which will be a campaign with the Snathy where you get to play the Snathy. Snathy is a major race. A couple new, if I can get them to work, a couple new race traits that you can then also use for making custom ships. A new ship style for the Snathy, a bunch of stuff like that. And then, the first major expansion will be probably in April or so of next year, and that will be we'll continue the storyline, and will be the Crusade itself, and we'll have a bunch of stuff which I'm not necessarily we haven't locked 100% down yet.
Sure. I've been watching, Daniel sits right behind me downstairs, and he has been animating the Snathy leader.
Yes, he has.
And it really amused me that the other day I looked over and he'd been listening to some number of hours of Disney songs on his Pandora playlist to, I guess, give him creative fuel for animating evil squirrels.
That's one approach, yeah. There's all the planets here.
I was quite amused by that. No, Daniel's great. Daniel's done some great work. We've got a lot of compliments.
Also,
on
another
animation.
thing that is not really, super, sales point worthy, but he also just redid all of the News Robot animations.
Oh, he did.
So, and those will probably be in 1.2.
Very nice. All right, so you guys got that to look forward to. Let's see. Zapcon for Hire asks, will it be possible to save a map from a randomly generated game to play with that map in the map editor?
Oh, wow. I'm sure it would be possible, but we don't have any plans to do that. Mostly just because it would be hard. Actually, if you knew the seed, you could do it. We don't. Theoretically, it is possible. I don't have that anywhere on the list. I will add it to my how hard would this be list because that could kind of be cool. But the problem is, I don't know.
I still wish we could.
Yeah, no, I don't really see a good. I don't see a. I mean, essentially, the if you just use the same rules when you generate a map in the map editor, you get the same thing as in the game. So you won't necessarily get the one you made in the game, but you could essentially just keep banging on regenerate until you get one that is as good as the one you saw in the game.
I still wish that we could save out map seeds and then load a map seed in at game creation, like designate the map seed. I always like that for stuff like, hey, I had this awesome map and this is how my game on it played out.
There actually, like I said, there's nothing stopping us from doing that other than the fact that it's like such a low priority thing that we don't think about it because we mostly want people to be able to load the map they want. And a seed to normal people means nothing. I could see if the maps were, if it was FH or something like that. I mean, on Enchantress or something like that, where the map, whereas it's a bunch of planets, but no, I mean it's something to consider, but no, it's not anywhere on our current list.
Okay. Larson X asks, will Paul or anyone go through the ship blueprints? There are some in there that hinder the AI. Apparently there's some.
We actually just did a big pass on all that. There was a problem where the AI was building ships, building support ships, thinking they were transports, and it was actually like at one point the AI didn't care what that tag was, so it would still be fine. And then when we fixed that, these like bugs that had been in there but not affecting anything for a while magically start affecting things. We're always balancing that. As a matter of fact, I just spent. And this will all be in 1.2. I just spent Alan and I have spent like all week working on getting the AI smarter in the way it defends and builds ships. So the new best defense system, which is kind of in the current build, has been greatly refined. And the AI is really doing a much better job. And also, even for the player design ships, the best defense thing is a lot smarter. Though we still have one little bug where it's generating a zillion designs because it's like, what's the best defense? What's the best defense? And you end up with like Mark II 50, 50 turns in. So we're dealing with that. But so that's gonna be a lot better. But it is already like when you soak now, it's speaking of which,
you should totally do that.
When you soak now, the AI is much more. It's like, he's coming to get him, and wait, now he knows you have lasers, so he's putting on shields, and it's just so much smarter about that now. So that's going to be a big leap forward in AI in 1.2. 1.2 we have a lot of kind of subtle things we're working on, and we're bringing in mega events. But 1.3 will be a lot more substantial. We're going to do a bunch of large empire management things, and then probably at 1.4. I was debating putting this into the first expansion, but I think we're just going to plunge right in and rework the Starbase.
Oh, system. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's. I've got it all designed. It's not going to be terribly hard to do. It is like a major change, so it feels like it should be in an expansion, but I think it'll make the game better, so we're just going to do it.
All right.
It might be 1.5.
The AI totally sniped that relic from your AI. That's rough.
Oh,
I would have been so mad if that was my game.
Well, the good news is I'm not paying very much attention.
Let's see. Martin S. Gill says that the broken govern commands are making late game painful. Are you aware of broken govern commands, Paul?
I'm not entirely sure which things he's referring to.
But I mean, 1.3 at least is going to be the late game kind of big empire.
Yeah, that's where we're going to be going through stuff. But I would like to know what specific things he's referring to. Broken govern command.
Yeah. So drop that in the chat. Let's see. Jacob says, "Can you add supergiant stars?"
I've toyed with the idea, and we might, but it won't be anytime soon. That might be expansion. We also got to bring in binaries and maybe even star clusters. And I always have wanted to have unstable stars that explode. And now that I have the event system, I might finally be able to do that, but it might be a little while longer. The problem with supergiant stars is, and there's two problems. First, all they do is block tiles, so they're like a black hole. That's not terribly interesting to the game. So you kind of need to come up with a reason what makes a supergiant star different or special or better. Same problem I'm having with binaries and clusters. Or even for that matter, what makes a small star or a quasar or something like that special.
Sure.
So we kind of have to work those things out before we just slap them on the map, because there comes a point where, and also the other thing, and this, as I said, is a twofold problem, is you have a super giant star in there. It's the only thing the player is going to see. Oh. And if it does nothing, it's like, why is this? So we already kind of have this problem with black holes. You see that, you go, oh, that's fascinating. All it is really a block. If black holes didn't have antimatter on them, they'd almost be pointless. So, although I want to do more with black holes too. The part goes into my Stargate idea later in the process.
Archon says that supergiant stars could explode and leave behind a ton of resources.
Yes, that goes back to my collapsing star idea. So yes, that would be a good use of it. So we essentially have them, but they have a chance of exploding. And then maybe even make it so that they don't have a planet, any habitable planets on it. Or if they do, but they're super great, but you never know when they're going to explode. And am I going to take it? Am I not going to take it? Although that type of stuff is really hard for the AI.
Yeah, well, and it's hard to make that feel good to the player, though, too.
Yeah, because you're just going to get screwed. What'd be crazy would be maybe even make it so there's a tech that could stabilize stars or something. It could be essentially like a extreme world, except for it's an extreme system.
Sure.
Right. So that, there's things we could do.
Let's see. What can we expect with 1.2, and when can we expect it?
The primary things that are coming in 1.2 are more enhancements, mostly to AI. We're trying to get the AI a little smarter, a little just overall better at defending itself. And then also, like I said, we're going to get a bigger event system in, which we call mega events in Galactic 2. We're going to call them in mega events in 3. And those will be where we can actually have almost like campaign style trigger sets that go off in the game.
Okay. And
then the nice thing about that is we'll put a few in. There'll be, 10 maybe that come in 1.2, but then we can start adding to them, and they can get bigger and beefier and beefier. And so that'll be a lot. It also gives us just a lot more room for expansion, a lot more. Also, it'll give modders some really fun stuff to mess with. Oh, I don't know if it's 1.3 or 1.4, but at some point soon, we're also going to just introduce full mod support to Steam Workshop.
Oh, that'll be nice. Yeah. Instead of, what is it now, like maps and...
well, right now it's ships and star bases.
Right. There we go.
I mean, ships and factions. In 1.2, we're adding maps.
Okay.
In 1.3, we'll probably just go full hog.
Nice.
Although 1.3... it might end up being 1.4, because 1.3, the code, the patch side of it is going to be pretty substantial.
Okay. Eris Child says that he wants a little symbol to tell me I have a ship headed to this empty tile like I used to have in Galciv 2.
Target thing.
Yeah.
Was it always there in Galciv 2? I thought it was only there if the ship was selected. In which case, then the path. Yeah.
Right.
I'll look into that. I mean, it's one of those things where it could be very cool, but it could also be cluttery.
Right.
So I'd have to think about that. There must be some reason why I didn't do it. But then again, it might have been a dumb reason. I found lots of things that I did dumbly and that I would like to undo. So I will keep looking into these things.
Honestly, we have so many more hotkeys that we could be using that you could... bind it to a hotkey, like hold down V to show destinations. Or whatever. I
always wanted a mode or a control that shows all the paths, which is more or less the same thing, except for we show the whole path.
Yep. We had a follow-up on that, on the broken commands thing. He says it's already reported on the forums, so that's great. So we have that anyway. But the third column in commands never populates for him. So he can never actually issue anything. He can select upgrade in Fury 1, but can't select anything to upgrade it to. So that's a bug for sure.
Oh, wait.
So in govern in commands.
So ability. Oh, is it possible that you don't have any other? So
I suspect that it's probably more.
So this column isn't filling.
The third column isn't filling for him apparently.
I want in the particular example I would need to see.
Sure, it's been reported on the forum, so hopefully there's some more detail there. But we'll definitely look into that.
I mean, it could literally, honestly, just be that you don't have anything that's a valid upgrade for that design.
If he's saying that it's late game and it's making it tedious, I'm guessing that he has things that are valid upgrades. But anyway, we'll look into it. We'll look into it.
Matter of fact, if you have a late game save, that would be
Yes.
ideal. Because
Yes,
then we can
that
just open
is-
it and go, oh, these things should be showing up. Or we can say, oh, you actually don't have anything in now. So, yes.
Right. Let's see. The CW wants to have a super weapon that can kickstart a stellar explosion. I believe that those have a place on the roadmap.
Yeah, that's more or less a Terror Star.
Right.
We actually have lots of planet killers planned, but yeah, they're probably not going to be an until an expansion.
Right. Had some questions about scaling tech and whatnot costs to the number of planets.
That
in the
is
galaxy.
actually going to be in 1.2. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, that is
Excellent.
that is being worked on right now. Well, not right now, but
So I really look forward to never
I
having
see a
to
transport going away.
I really look forward to never having to ask that question again. Because I
Yeah.
swear
Well,
to God,
we're
I've
setting
asked
it
you
up
that
to where
question.
any game setting can be
Set to scale.
set to scale with
Okay.
the things.
Okay, that's cool.
Now, balancing that, I will say, is probably going to be a nightmare. So don't be surprised if it gets changed a few times once it is in.
Right. Well, balancing is kind
Because
of always
people
a
now
nightmare.
every time you go, oh man, this game is broken because I can do this and this and this. There is somebody out there who's going, this game is awesome because I can do this and this and this.
Right.
And then when I fix it for you, that person goes, you ruined the game.
I'm still mad about sensor boats, man. I like my sensor boats.
You can still make sensor boats. They're
No,
just
they're just not as.
well, yeah, they're not as godlike and overpowering as they were before. I'm still regretting, and I can't really do anything about it, that I can't limit the number of fighter modules. Because what I really should have done is made it so you could only have one module, but then I could have made the modules better and better and better.
Sure.
And I might do that in an expansion, but I don't think I could get away with doing that in the base game because it would break a lot of
It would break
people's-
everybody's
yeah,
carriers.
yeah.
For sure. Yeah, but man, fighters have been the bane of balance. Like,
Yeah,
since
and
you
there's
put
a
'em in.
reason why we didn't do them in Galactic 2.
Nasty Tang's with me on the sensor boats. I appreciate that.
Yeah, everybody is. Anybody who, I mean, they're awesome. They're awesome. There's also, I get people yelling at me that I changed the, what is it? I changed the miniaturization. There's that one tech from 30% to 20%.
The thing that let you put colony ships.
Yeah,
make
and there's
tiny
you've
colony
ruined
ships.
the game completely because I can't make tiny colony ships anymore.
Which
It's
is
like
still you can still make small colony
You
ships.
can
That's
make
still really good.
if you milk it right, you can still exploit the hell out of it. But the fact that it's not easy to exploit, I don't mind an exploit as long as the player has to work to get it, because then it's a strategy. That's the only real difference. Hey, what's going on?
I'm
here?
not looking forward to everybody yelling at me. I don't know what the heck they're doing. Those
I
lines
think
have
the
been there
fog
forever.
of war. These must have drawn under the fog of war.
Oh, and now they're not redrawing since the reveal. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that happened.
No, I'm not looking forward to getting screamed at by all the Sorcerer King community for for nerfing Varda as one of our champions who is horrendously overpowered. Man, the bloom looks really nice on that.
I think
the
that's one of
HDR,
the minors.
Nice. Oh yeah, it totally is because that is a very blue.
One of the things we did.
yeah.
One of the things we did. Interceptor. In the new thing is we gave the AI will now build much better defenders.
Oh, okay.
And
Defender the blueprint or Defender like?
No, I mean
the
like
concept
ships to defend its
okay.
planet. Whereas right now it kind of like goes, oh, I've got something and forgets about it.
Oh, okay.
And so invading planets is going to get a little harder.
Yay. The other issue that I have had, and this is like, to be fair, I have not really touched Galciv in like a month and a half because I've been doing and working on other things here. But the last time I did a playthrough, I kind of ended up with like, every time I attacked a planet, it was defended by like 15 of the same ship.
Yeah,
Felt
that's
a
the
little
same
weird.
problem. That was
Okay.
the problem.
Okay. Sweet.
Essentially, okay, there was like at one point the AI would bankrupt itself building defending ships, and we had to fix that. And when we fixed that, we overkilled it, and then it would go, okay, I'm going to make cheap ships, but then it would make a bunch of them, and they would all be crappy. And then and then like either you would end up killing off 20 snipers,
right,
or the AI would clear them out because it would go, oh look, these are vulnerable, and you get there and the planet wouldn't be defended at all.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we did a lot of work on this actually this week, and it's already way better, and we're not done yet.
Sure. We had a little bit of confusion in the chat as to what the Steam Workshop plans are. Which is that some stuff is going in 1.2 and then full on mods and things in 1.3. Is that right?
That is my plan. Full on mods might end up being pushed to 4 or even 5, but we want to get that supported as soon as possible. It's more just a question of making sure that everything in the game is solid. That's got to be our number one priority.
Sure. Let's see. So what else is going on? I'm actually out of questions in the chat, which shocks me.
Well, it's because we've been gone so long.
We've
lost all of our...
Everybody hates us now, which is alas and alack. So what is still outstanding, Paul, in terms of balance issues that are kind of in the front of your mind?
Oh, God. I just completely rebalanced defenses and weapons the other day. Primarily in how much they cost. So now, generally they're around the same cost, but we made it so. Essentially, what I did, and this is going to sound really weird, I made it so weapons actually have equivalent damage per tick per credit. All right, so because you have to account for rate of fire, you have to account for how much the weapon costs, how much its mass is. So I had to create like a big calculator. And I was actually surprised how close to balanced they actually were. So, and then I did the same thing for defenses. And I had to do it, and that's what started it, is we had to do it for defenses to make sure that the best defense system wasn't screwing people. Because there was a time, and I think we've already fixed it to some degree, even in the patch, where almost all of the player design chips, as a matter of fact, if we go here, it's probably still doing it in this build. Almost all the player defined, well, no, I guess not. These are beams, shields, were point defense.
Oh.
Because technically point defense was the best defense almost always. And that really wasn't fair. It was just a matter of the way the weapons were balanced. And I didn't want to lose that. The missiles still do the most damage with the lowest rate of fire. So that's on purpose. But just getting those little things so that no one's ever, you can't, now if you do the numbers, you never feel like, well, the only valid weapon is missile. The only valid is, so that was all rebalanced. Primarily our main focus on balance at this point is just getting the AI as smart as possible.
Sure.
And fixing bugs, because as much as I think I've got them all, and somebody goes, oh, by the way, there's a space in this letter in this Starbase module that's causing this one thing to not upgrade.
Yeah.
But I would like more time to focus on making the gameplay, the AI smarter, and then what I want to really focus on is making is interface and like large empire enhancements, things like that.
We had a plug in the chat for Vid's Better War mod, Better Wartime AI, which is a mod that's in the forums. I dropped the link in the chat. You can check it out there. Paul, have you checked out that mod at all?
I have not. I assume you modified the wartime strategy.
I'm assuming that's probably what it is.
Well, there's an even crazier thing that's coming in 1.2 where you can actually attach a tech governor to a strategy. So it's like the minute you're in this thing, make sure you have these 5 techs.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
that's one of those things that we could do to make sure that the AI is smarter.
Cool.
And so we're working on that too.
Very cool. But in the meantime, you can check out the mod. Lord knows how it'll work with the revamped kind of Defender code for the
That
AI,
should be
but-
fine. AI strategy is pretty separate,
Okay.
from everything
Nice.
else.
Let's see. Zapgun for Hire is really mad that I'm not plugging the DLC. Well, we released some DLC. It's a map pack. You can check it out. It's live
Well, I
on Steam.
appreciate that users are mad that we're not plugging the deal. Yes, actually get the DLC. Mostly the main thing I'm excited about that is there's finally some symmetrical maps for anybody
Right.
who wants to play multiplayer. They're actually kind of fun to play single player actually, because then it's really good for me as a designer to test, because I could take a Snowflake, which is like a 6-player symmetrical map where everybody has the same exact things, and put everybody at the same difficulty and soak and see, if everybody plays, if somebody wins. And this is actually one of those things Brad always talks about. It's like, that is a test that a lot of games fail. I mean, not to be dicky about it, because most games don't have a soak mode or something like that where you can just let them play each other. Whereas is one of the AIs going to outsmart the other one? And it's not just a matter of is one going to win by attrition. It's like, is one going to do something that's clever? And does that one always win? Or is this, or do they have equal chances of winning? And those maps are great for that. The map editor is really fun. We actually have a lot more plans for the map editor. So it will actually, even though it's a DLC, it will continue to get kind of enhanced.
Okay.
Because I want people to be able to use it to create scenarios.
Yes.
And so once the scenario, this is what probably will come in with the mod. Wow, that is a big ass fleet coming from.
Yeah, it is.
The
It's a Kryn, man. Kryn are nothing but
the Kryn
problems.
are they're less OP than they were at one point,
Well, that's good.
but they're still pretty. Once they get going, they're kind of like the Yor. If you let them go too long, they hit like a ramp up point because of a couple bonuses.
Sure.
So you got to kind of take them out, make them your friends, or take them out early, or play as them.
Indeed. Let's see. Can I have a pre-populated galaxy that's stagnated and my just developed civilization has to carve its niche out? That's kind of an interesting idea.
You can if you do a scenario.
Yep.
And
so
and even in the map editor as it is now, there is, and I mean to write a blog about this. There is actually a command you can add that says like scenario mode,
okay.
and it will show you the scenario stuff, which is exactly what I used to make the map, the scenarios, the campaigns. It'll let you play ships and stuff, but the reason why it's not available by default yet is because you have to have game data for it. So you have to then kind of, if you're a modder, or you can look at like the scenario defs and kind of see how that works. My goal is to actually get the scenario editor, which I made, out there for players.
Okay.
At the same time, we enable that stuff in the map editor by default, and then people will be able to actually make campaigns and scenarios. And then ideally, you'll be able to upload those to the Steam Workshop.
Very cool. Will the major factions get some love in the form of faction-specific videos, spoken text, and unique technologies, etc., in any future update?
Well, there'll probably be some passes on their text and stuff, and little gimmicks. Probably not just in patches, but as attached to either expansions or DLC. But they probably won't be getting spoken text. That we've talked about that a billion times. It's just not cost efficient for us. We're not big enough for that to be.
There's just a lot
Yes.
of.
There is so much text in Galactic 3, not to mention translation.
Yep.
I mean, we're spending a fortune just getting Galactic 3 into German and Russian or whatever the things were. I forget which one. So there's so much text in this game that it's not. We're not Elder Scrolls. We only have so much of an audience. So the spoken stuff is either we'd have to do it badly and it wouldn't be very impressive and you'd be like kind of wishing it wasn't there, or we would go bankrupt. So, I mean, if you want me to sit there and, hello, I'm the dragon leader. So, and I don't think anybody wants that.
You've talked a lot about anomalies and your sort of ideas and plans for them over the many months of development and through release. Is that any of that actually going to happen at some point, or is that kind of backburnered for now?
I'm not 100% certain what you're referring to.
Like just having more anomalies, having more like ideological anomalies, more anomalies that spawn, mid game, that sort of thing.
I'm actually hoping that my trigger system that we're creating for the events will allow me to make ideological anomalies where you actually they trigger little quests almost, or like little options. It's one of those things where I want to do it, but I'm so busy doing other things. One of the things we are doing for anomalies is making them so they'll respawn, so that you don't run out.
Sure.
So that your survey ship always has something to do.
Sure. Will we get some diplomacy options for dealing with ship incursions other than declare war?
Yes, but not till 1.3.
that has been a topic of concern.
Yeah, and I actually we were going to try and get it at 1.2, but there's only so much we could do.
Right.
But yes, we're gonna have a get off my lawn command, and there's not necessarily going to be. We haven't ironed out exactly. I don't want to do it just like we did in FE, where it's either go to war or no, or kicks them out.
Right. We
need to come up with a better, a little more realistic, subtler option. So we're still balancing what we want to do with that.
Sure. Can we get some way to organize our custom ships? I have several different builds for each, depending on circumstances or enemy ship builds, and the user category gets disorganized quickly. And
we are going to go over that whole system, hopefully, not in 1.2 or 1.3, but hopefully soon. That's kind of part of the large empire management, task list, because better ship management, better, like we want to redo these lists so that you can list by fleet, and maybe a couple more governors. I'd actually love to get we're going to try and get the actual planet governors in.
Sure.
We might actually, ironically, once we put the planet, I really shouldn't have clicked this, planet governors in, we might actually take out, Brad's trying to convince me to do this, and at first I was like, no, and then part of me is like, maybe take out the per planet slider.
Oh gosh, I'm with Brad on that, man.
Yeah,
I really.
It's one of those things where it's like, it is like in theory you think, oh, that's great, but you really don't use it, and if you do use it, it just creates micromanagement from hell.
It does, and the problem is if you don't use it, you're giving up a massive amount of advantage, and the AI is bad at it.
Yeah, so what we are thinking of doing is getting the governors in and taking out the other thing. And so essentially, give a little, take away a little. I'm really reluctant to remove any feature, but Brad is winning me over on it, and apparently Adam is on his side.
Honestly, it's the micromanagement thing for me.
Yeah, that's really it.
And it's just, it makes it so that it's the only real way to play effectively is to specialize the absolute living hell out of your planets. Yeah. And the better you are at that is kind of almost the most important thing for how good you are at playing Galactic.
Well, we still want that to some degree. We just don't want it to have to be so crazily done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Let's see. Creature of Existence, who, by the way, is a very stalwart poster in our chat and is all of our forums and stuff, and we appreciate your support very much. And I skip over your questions all the time in chat because they're hard for me to understand a lot of the time, which I think is a language barrier issue. So I apologize. It's not that I want to, not that I don't love you like I love all of our community, but just anyway, did have a good point that I want to bring up. It says that he thinks the Kryn's situation and why they're so powerful, or why they get so powerful, is the big plus 25% morale boost on whichever one, the consulate or the temple or whichever building that is. And it is a lot easier to manage morale as a Kryn. And keep that really high.
Yeah, and you want that to some degree so that it's special to be the Kryn, but yeah, it might be too high. I'll take a look at it.
All right. Let's see. Any chance for improving build reordering? I still keep dropping stuff in the wrong place. I'm guessing he means build queue on his planets. I mean, that pretty much works as expected for me.
I think maybe it depends also on your screen resolution.
Oh, really?
So, if some people have a really small one.
Oh, okay.
See, I'm pretty happy with this, honestly.
Yeah, it works
So
all right.
I'd be curious. I mean, we even have up and down.
Yeah, I guess I don't actually end up doing that much. What I usually do, if anything, is like, oh, there's a new thing I want to build. I want to build it right now. I'll add it to the queue and then select it and then
Yeah, and
mash
then
on
move
the
it
up
up
button to bring it up.
Well,
to the
there
top.
is sometimes a problem. Like I've built, you've queued up 20 things,
Uh-huh.
and then you go, oh, I want to build the entertainment center. Oh crap, it's down here.
Right.
And then I have to go down here and drag it all that stuff.
Yeah. No.
It's not ideal. I don't currently have any major revampy plans for this. However, I'm open to suggestions if you have something cool.
Sure. Let's see. Zapgun for Hire wants broker peace. Is that in 1.3 as well? We've been talking about that forever too. To be able to broker peace through diplomacy, between two
there are
other
several friendly related treaties and stuff planned for 1.3. I will have to look at my list.
All right. Let's see. Zapkin also says, if you take away the planetary production wheel, I'd suggest getting out the flame-proof pajamas because there's going to be some grousing from some corners.
I know.
Oh, there totally will be. There totally will be. Because there are people like, why are you taking this away from me? And this is, I really like this. And to some extent, it's one of those things where, like, as a designer, you just have to, like, plant your flag.
Well, that's what I'm saying is I'm not 100% sold on it yet.
Sure.
I am open on what I am currently trying to do is find an alternative that addresses some of these problems.
Sure.
So we'll see.
Martin Gill said the guy with the issue with the reordering the queue asked for maybe just like a bolded line when you are dragging something around to show where it's going to drop when you drop it.
Oh,
just a little bit of feedback.
Okay,
in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
No, that's not a bad idea at all. As a matter of fact, that's kind of a standard behavior. I'm surprised we don't have it.
I'd say you could yell at Sarah, but you don't have Sarah anymore.
I know, you bastards.
We stole Sarah for ashes.
Sarah.
We stole her away.
It is actually would require a little work because I don't think our list box control supports such a thing. So it would have to be like a custom made thing. Sure. Which would require a little more effort. So I would not be surprised if that does not happen anytime soon, but I will add it to my list of this would be awfully nice.
There you go. Let's see what else is going on. I think I'm pretty close to caught up on the chat here. Let's see. Are we going to get any more eye candy? You will certainly get new art and new assets and stuff when we do, certainly for like DLC and expansion.
There's some cool eye candy in the 1.2
there is.
DLC.
Okay.
We're going to bring the Dreadlords back and the Peacekeepers and Space Monsters.
Very nice.
Now, they're all going to be parts of mega events. But that's really the only big graphical thing you'll see.
Okay.
That will, however, come with a bunch of new parts and stuff for modders for people who want to play with them. Holy, I forget that this is one of the things we fixed. That the miners just build a zillion of these. Yeah. So now what will happen is they'll build different ships. They won't build the same one. And then as they get closer, as new, better ships come out, they'll replace them.
Oh, is that what they're doing? Is they're not replacing them?
They're not replacing them. They go, I'm defended. I got nothing. And it's so obvious with the miners because they don't
do anything else with their ships.
They don't have other types of ships to build. So they fall back on I might as well defend myself way more than everybody else does.
Right.
So that's how you can always keep your eye out for them.
Right. All right. Well, I think we're pretty caught up. Paul, do you have a timetable to share for what the opt-in for 1.2 is going to be?
I think 1.2. Now, I'm just saying this off the top of my head. I think is the 6th of next month,
August,
and 1.3 roughly 3 or 4 weeks after that.
All right. Well, there you go. So you can look forward to that. Beginning of August will be 1.2 dropping, and we'll get some of these improvements in there for you. And definitely have some more expansion and DLC plans to announce, I think, fairly soon as well. So that'll be coming. And that's the deal. Thanks for joining us for
I think the creative got
Friday.
This one.
I think I
don't know. That Guardians are doing pretty good. Oh.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of free.
And I died because
there you
I was just. I guess
Yeah.
that's a sign.
It might be. All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us for another Galciv Friday. We will be back to our normal streaming schedule, as far as I'm aware. So, at least for the moment. So, I look forward to seeing you guys around, and hope the weekend treats you well.
Yeah. Make sure you've got the updated patch. I guess if you're running Steam, it just does it for you.
It does.
So never mind.
Glory. Everybody gets it.
Yay for Steam.
All right. Excellent.
See you next time.
Bye.